Okay, good morning, everybody. I'm still trying to get online, so give me just a few minutes and we'll be ready to go. Taking off my glasses so I hopefully can see. Well, let's put them back on. It's one of those. They help me read. So, today, let's see, this is October 8th. I'm in Mesa, Arizona. I've been out here for several days doing group readings and doing private readings, group readings, and having a really good time with friends out here. I would say one of the things that's been really kind of cool for the last, few days out here is just getting to kind of reacquaint. It's been about a year since I was out here. Let's see. It has been some things that I've found, especially out here. I wouldn't say that it's just exclusively for the Mesa, Arizona area, but I would say several people that I have talked to over the last couple of weeks, and I've seen this many times, is that they're making their life so much harder by their words. It's one of those. And I kind of noticed that I was talking to my friend Tony that's out here, and she has a little dog, and she has just had the greatest time with this dog, but always thinking so positive, and it's going to take no time at all to do this with the dog, or to train the dog to do this with the dog. And I think that's one of the advantages of having, your mindset in the right area, where several other people, another client of mine out here, Kathy, got a new dog a few weeks ago, and she's complaining about the dog, and she's talking about how hard it is and how hard the dog is. And it's one of those, it's all in your mindset. When you tell yourself it's going to be easy, it may not be 100% easy, but it's going to be a whole heck of a lot easier than if you keep saying it's hard and it's difficult. And that's kind of the difference between Kathy and Tony out here. And it's one of those, it's just been kind of really amazing of dealing with these different kinds of energies. So one of the things I told Kathy is to catch that energy and change the words and saying it. It's going to be easier to train the dog. It's going to be so much more fun to train the dog. I can't wait until I take the dog to the dog park. I can't wait till I take the dog, on a trip or whatever it is. Make sure that you're changing those words. But it's not just with dogs. I would say one of the things that I get that's really important is that it's important to change your words about everything. People will tell me, oh, it's going to be so hard to find a new job. Well, you just told yourself it's going to be hard, so of course it's going to be hard. Of course it's not going to be easy. You just said it was hard. Or no one's hiring right now. Well, why even try? That's kind of what you're telling yourself, is why even try? This is my excuse of not trying, is that it's going to be hard. There's no one hiring. There's no one doing this. And I was like, you've already defeated yourself before you even gave it a try. So it's one of those, that's not good. That's not easy. That is something that is just making your life so much harder than it absolutely has to be. So what would you like to change in your life? By changing your words, you're going to change your world. It's one of those that is so important in every aspect of your life. So I would say changing your words. It's one of those, I do it all the time, catching one or two thoughts and changing it 180 degrees. If you're saying it's going to be hard, say it's going to be easy. If you say this is going to be messy, say it's going to be clean and cleansed. It's one of those, literally grabbing that word, that adjective that you're using to describe this, and switch it out. Just basically switch it out. There's no problem. There's no issues. Switch the sucker out and change it to a different adjective. Even if, I'm not saying lie to yourself. I'm just saying it's not going to be as hard as I think it's going to be. At the end of the day, I'm going to go, wow, this was so much easier than I thought it was going to be. And that's going to make the energy so much easier to deal with than you ever could imagine, of just going, this is going to be easy. It's one of those, I've heard it many times, and one of the areas I hear this a lot in is women talking to men, or talking about men. Like, they're like, I had a client a couple of days ago tell me that she really likes, what I'm saying, looking for a man, really wants a new man in her life. It's been a while since, since she's had a really great relationship with a man. And she's like, I want to date somebody and I want to, go traveling and go do all these things. And then she goes, well, but all men are untrustworthy. Right there's your issue. Right there. When you say all men are untrustworthy, it's one of those, and you want to have a relationship with someone who's untrustworthy? That doesn't make any sense. So understanding when we changed her words, it's like you could just see her body relax. And I said, even if we just say some men are untrustworthy, some men are untrustworthy, it changed. You could just see her body go, oh yeah, that feels so much easier, so much lighter than what I was saying before. It's just one of those, that's the most amazing part, is just changing your words. It's one of those, changing your words is so much easier than you possibly think it is. When you start doing absolutes on things, all women are liars, or all women are something, or crazy, or all, it's one of those, that's what you're asking for. That's the true energy, what you're asking for. And so when you get it, that's the way it's going to show up to you. If you have any questions, post them and I'll be more than happy to answer your question. I would say there are many times and many occasions when people really need to change their words, and it's one of those, it doesn't take that much to do so. It's one of those, changing your words really can change your life. So if you think starting a business is going to be hard, or it's a lot of paperwork, or it's going to be that way. If you tell yourself, nope, it's going to be easier than I think, I'm going to find the right people to support me and the right people to help in different ways, it's going to happen that way. It is really going to happen that way. It's just easier. It's one of those, if you think something's going to be a certain way, or people are that way, and I got something on my screen and I don't know what it is. It's one of those, just understand it's going to be a lot easier than you think it is. It's one of those. So changing your words is not as easy as you think. You want to make sure that you, or it is easy as you think. So it's one of those, changing the words that don't work and switching those out and grabbing that word and switching it 180 degrees is the beginning. But you also want to make sure that you're not lying to yourself. You're not saying, oh my gosh, I'm going to be president tomorrow, or you're going to be an astronaut. You're lying to yourself. You can say, I'm taking the first steps to get this, to have this, or to take care of this, or to get on my way in doing this. And that's what's going to work for you. So it's one of those, make sure that you're stating the truth, especially when you talk about finances. Finances do not like to be lied about. When you say, oh, I have all the money in the world, and it doesn't work that way. Or if you say every bit of money is coming to me, or I make $1 million a day, and if it's not true, it's going to repel money. It's not going to bring it to you. So one of the things that you can do is to say, I love when I have abundance. I love when I have extra. Now I'm changing the energy with that, and that makes everything different. So you can say, when I feel great when I have extra money in my purse. I feel amazing when I can pay all my bills and have extra in the bank and I don't have to worry about things. Now I'm making more positive statements. Now I'm making better steps. And I'm not saying change everything to these really high, amazing words. It's changing it a little bit at a time, a step at a time. So we're meeting you where you're at, and changing those words immediately is going to change your world. It's one of those, it is amazing. Especially finances. You cannot lie about finances. That is just the bottom line. When you lie about money, it does not come to you. You have got to be truthful about it. But you can be truthful in a positive way. So it's one of those, I love when I have extra. Doesn't everybody love when they have extra? You know, it's one of those, I put on change purses the other day to come to Arizona, and I just thought it was so much fun. I put my hand in the purse, and there was some receipts at the bottom, and I pulled it out, and oh my gosh, there was an extra 20. I was like jumping up and down. be happy and excited when you find money. Be happy and excited that you have this extra $20. And I was like, woohoo. And I started actually amping up that energy and going, what else would I want to do with this $20? I can use this $20 on my trip to Arizona to buy me a bottle of water or a candy bar at the airport. And then I'm actually amping up that energy even more because I'm so excited, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get a great bottle of water and I'm going to have a great time, or I'm going to have lunch at the airport. So now I'm amping it up by telling this $20 bill and the universe what I'm going to do with the money. So where am I going to place this money, this extra money that God just threw down and placed in my purse? That's the best part. So I want you to understand that this is so amazing and so much fun. It's one of those, when you start doing it, you almost get addicted to changing your words. It's one of those, it is amazing. So much fun. It's one of those, if you've got any questions, post them and I'll answer them. I won't give any information, private information. If you're a client or not a client, that's up to you. But it's one of those, ask a question. I love answering your questions. I do that for a living. It's so much fun. So tell me what topics you would want to talk about, and we'll change topics. Changing your words is actually one of my favorite topics to talk about because it really can change your world so instantly. You can't really do anything more simple than to change your words and start changing, and every once in a while just grabbing one of those thoughts and going, this is what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to change this thought 180 degrees from what I'm getting right now to what I really, really desire in the future. It makes life so much easier and so much fun. So much fun. It's fun that way, and it's one of those, it does take time. So if you've been having negative thoughts for a while, eventually when you start changing those words, you're still going to get that negative thoughts, and it's because that's what you were sending out. And then with time, usually a day or two, you'll start to see that more positive side coming in a little bit more. You're going to see that coming in more and more, and that's the fun part. That's when you're like, okay, now I'm starting to create with my words. So now I've changed one thing. What else would I want to change? And when you do that, it changes so fast. It's one of those, it is just amazing to talk about changing words and what's going to come in next. It really does. I've got some other things that I'd like to talk about. There are some upcoming adventures coming to us very soon. Later on this month, we have Venus going into retrograde, and I'm going to be posting some new things on retrograde. I had a couple of questions in a group reading yesterday about retrogrades and what does it all mean. So I'm going to go through and describe that at another time when I have some chalkboards behind me so I can really explain everything, what it looks like. So I'm going to go into some details over that. Probably next Monday live. I'll go into what does actually retrograde mean? Not just Mercury in retrograde or Venus in retrograde, but what is, what does it mean, and why do we need to take notice of this? So I did it a couple of years ago, but I'm going to do this again. So I think it's a really great kind of refresher course, and for me, it's something to be important about, to understand that I'm getting more new clients that are coming and joining us, and I do need to explain the basics to them. So later on this month, at the end of the month, Venus starts to go into retrograde. And Venus is the planet of love. Everybody knows that Venus is the goddess of love. And when she does that, there are some changes that are going to happen to our love life. And don't think of it as a negative thing. Same thing with your words. Think of it as a time that you can kind of repurpose your life in your love life. Putting new energy there. What would you like to fix or change or correct in your love life? Maybe that's not necessarily starting a new relationship because you don't really want to do that during Venus in retrograde, but it could be changing the relationships you have now, or getting ready for the relationships and cleaning out and rethinking and evaluating the old relationships so that you can let that baggage go and be ready for the new person to come in your life when that happens. And that makes it so much more fun, just like we were talking about. So like I said, my client out here saying that men are not trustworthy. When you think that way, no man is any man that comes to you is going to be untrustworthy, because that's what you said. When you say, I love men that speak their truth. I love when men speak their truth to me. I love finding, I hear a lot of people say, I can't find anybody. I find eligible bachelors all over the place, or I find eligible ladies wherever I go, and I just have the pick of the litter. So which one am I going to choose? Which one is going to be the best connection for me? Now I'm changing that whole energy 180 degrees, and making it so much more efficient, so much more amazing to come with that energy at me. So my throat's getting a little dry. I forgot to grab some water. So it's one of those, changing that 180 degrees. When you expect someone, a new person to come in your life, I hear this a lot with people going, my son or my daughter's dating someone new and I don't really care for them. So literally from the beginning, you're already saying, I'm not going to like this person ever. And it's one of those, all that energy is going to do is make it even more difficult than it was. So when you start going, I love when I'm friends with the people my kids date. I love getting to know this person differently. It really brings that person into the family. So you really do get an opportunity to get to know them differently, as a friend, as they're starting to date your kids or whatever it is. And it's one of those, and it does change the energy. It amplifies it, so it becomes so powerful. And changing your words really does, I'm changing hands, really does change that energy. So one of the things I would say to people too is that's really important, is especially in love life. I was talking about Venus going into retrograde. Your current relationships may go through some changes, and always think of it as a positive change, because change is always really, really good. I would say as we do that, it's one of those, think of what are the changes you would like to do. Would you like to be able to speak to your spouse more regularly? Heart-to-heart talks. Would you like to do things? Would you like to go out on dates with your husband or your wife more often? Make those changes now. Make those changes and upgrade. Why can't you date your spouse, your husband or your wife? That's the best kind of dating ever, and getting to know them differently. And taking time to let them choose the movie, or change that, and let them see movies that you really enjoy or y'all would enjoy together. Going for walks. It's one of those, I think that's one of the best things that my husband and I do is, from time to time, we'll just go out on a long walk together, and we leave the TV and the cell phones and everything at home, and literally just walk and enjoy each other in a different way. The bonus is we get a little exercise, which is always a good thing, but it's one of those, the best part is that we get to spend time together, and that really amplifies that time, and then we can reevaluate ourselves in our relationship together, and that, which is perfect for Venus going into retrograde, and it amplifies our communication skills with each other. Always a good thing. So I would say, what is your things that you would like to come out of Venus in retrograde is new love. And that doesn't have to be, if you don't want to date somebody, or if you're not in a relationship, that's okay. It's one of those, just sending love. Love changes so many things in our world. It is just absolutely amazing. When you have love in our world, and if you just send out love, if you just send out, your whole prayer is that you love your planet and you love the things that are going on here, all it does is amplify that energy and bring in more things for you to love. If you just love your house and your car and the possessions you have, what it's going to do is amplify that and bring in more things for you to love. It's one of those, you're going to get a new TV or find great financing on it or whatever it is, so you can bring those new and exciting things back into yourself. So change your words, especially during Venus in retrograde, and that's going to change so much for yourself. I would say that is the quickest way to start making some amazing changes, not only for yourself, but your family, your friends, and start changing your world through them. It's one of those, if we just have a couple of seconds left. If you have any questions, you can post them and I'll answer those. One of the things is I'll be live again next Monday at 10 If you have any questions, you can join us. And I will be describing what it means when a planet goes in retrograde, and I will go through a whole long discussion about that. So if you have any questions of why do the planets go into retrograde? What does that mean for us? What is the energy it means for us? I'm going to explain everything. So it'll make it really fun and easy. So I really hope you join me next Monday. Y'all have an amazing week. And I leave Mesa, Arizona tomorrow, and I'll be back home in Houston, Texas on Tuesday night. And I have a full schedule already the next day. So I'm going to totally enjoy it. I wish y'all all the best. Talk to you soon.